The longest fully immersed tunnel in the world. A project buried 40 meters below the sea. A construction site so massive it can be seen from space. This isn't science fiction, it's happening right now between Denmark and Germany. But how do you build the longest underwater road and rail tunnel in the world beneath one of the busiest shipping lanes on Earth? This tunnel isn't just another channel tunnel, it's an engineering masterpiece, a genius architectural project that will connect Central Europe to Scandinavia. With an estimated cost of 7.4 billion euros, this tunnel will be Europe's boldest infrastructure project in decades. Stretching some 18 kilometers, that's just over 11 miles, beneath the Baltic Sea, this immersed tunnel will revolutionize travel, cutting journey times from hours to mere minutes. It will serve as a vital artery linking Germany and Denmark and beyond. As colossal prefabricated elements are lowered and snapped together like giant Lego blocks on the seafloor, the future of European connectivity is being forged in steel and concrete. But in undertaking such a monumental feat, what challenges lie beneath, waiting to test the limits of human ambition? As the final tunnel segment locks into place beneath the Baltic, a new chapter unfolds. This chapter is one fraught with unforeseen dangers, political turmoil, and the race against time to keep this colossal dream alive. The Fehmarnbelt Tunnel was meant to unite nations, but will it become a symbol of triumph, or a cautionary tale lost beneath the waves? What secrets will the depths reveal next? The vision. For the longest time, the German island of Fehmarn has been connected to the mainland through the Fehmarn Sound bridge. This 963-meter long, or just over 3,200-foot crossing, includes a mixture of several rail and road connections made from the strongest materials any architectural structure of such importance requires. Established in 1963, the Fehmarn Sound Bridge was constructed to replace the previous ferry service, streamlining travel between Hamburg and Copenhagen. Since its establishment, this bridge has played a crucial role in saving significant time travel from both road and rail traffic. However, that was then. While still functional, the Fehmarn Sound Bridge is in need of much-needed upgrade, as it cannot quite handle the loads of road and rail traffic expected from the Fehmarnbelt Fixed Link project. Should you be wondering what this project is, the Fehmarnbelt Fixed Link is an ambitious infrastructure project consisting of an 18-kilometer immersed tunnel connecting Puttgarden on the German island Fehmarn with the Rødby on the Danish island of Lolland across the Fehmarn Belt in the Baltic Sea. This project is essential not only because it will complement the current ferry service with an 18-kilometer immersed tunnel carrying both road and rail traffic, but it will also create a fast, direct transport corridor between Scandinavia and Central Europe. This will serve as a means of enhancing connectivity, trade, and economic growth across the region. This new addition is designed to be a fixed link across the strait, replacing the ferry service connecting Fehmarn to the Danish island of Lolland. This project was given the moniker the Fehmarnbelt Tunnel. The plan was pretty simple. The Fehmarnbelt Tunnel will be an underwater passageway that stretches 18 kilometers and connects the Danish island of Lolland with the German island of Fehmarn. Straightforward, right? However, this wasn't the original plan. In fact, there wasn't supposed to be a tunnel in the first place. How it started. By the late 1990s, following the decision to create a more efficient connection route between the two islands, feasibility studies were carried out to construct a bridge. The initial plan was for a bridge to carry both a 4-lane motorway and 2 electrified rail tracks. This bridge would be about 20 kilometers or about 12 miles long, and it would include 3 cable-strayed spans. 4 pillars that would be 280 meters tall, that's just over 900 feet, and a vertical clearance above the sea level of about 65 meters, or about 200 feet, to allow ocean-going ships to pass beneath it. This was the most likely solution, and soon detailed plans were created to pave the way for the construction efforts. This bridge was originally expected to be completed in 2018. However, fast forward to 2010, and it didn't look like the initial plan was the most feasible solution. Even more feasibility studies were carried out. And sometime in 2010, the Danish project planners made an announcement that left everyone stunned. An immersed underwater tunnel might be the best solution. Why? Their reasons were simple. There would be fewer risks associated with the construction of an immersed tunnel. More importantly, it would cost approximately the same amount to construct either type of crossing. So basically, with a planned budget, Fehmarn AS, the Danish state-owned company in charge of designing and planning the link, announced that the tunnel would be a suitable option versus the initially proposed bridge. As expected for a revolutionary construction effort of this scale, the idea of the immersed tunnel received support from a large majority of the Danish Parliament by January 2011. This marked the beginning of the birth of one of the most iconic constructions that Europe would witness. Project specifications. Designed to cross the 18-kilometer wide Fehmarnbelt in the Baltic Sea, the new immersed tunnel will provide a direct link between northern Germany and Lolland, and from there to the Danish island of Zealand and Copenhagen. In doing so, it'll take the crown as the world's longest road and rail tunnel, shortening the travel time between Lolland and Fehmarn from 45 minutes by ferry to about 10 minutes by car and approximately 7 minutes by train. Fehmarn AS was put in charge of designing and planning the link between Denmark and Germany. By 2012, a plan had been drafted showing the tunnel's completion date would be around 2021. However, as construction plans kicked off and the design was revised, it quickly became clear that the project would experience several delays, setting the completion date back by several years. By 2020, the completion date was estimated to be 2029. Of course, you're probably beginning to wonder, a project of this scale will require a massive budget to support its success, right? Well, the short answer is yes. Upon analysis, the project was said to require a staggering 7.4 billion euros. This money would come from various sources, including the Danish government, grants from Germany and Sweden, and even the European Commission under its Connecting Europe Facility scheme, or CEF. This budget will go towards the building of the tunnel itself, as well as installing transport infrastructure. The engineering plans. When completed, the Fehmarnbelt Tunnel will be the world's longest underwater tunnel for road, the deepest immersed tunnel for road and rail traffic, and the second deepest concrete immersed tunnel. This underwater tunnel will be created by building a foundation bed of sand or gravel, excavating a trench across the sea floor, lowering precast concrete tunnel sections into the excavation, and finally filling them with a layer of backfill several meters deep. Unlike boring through rock, engineers are building this tunnel in sections. These sections are floated out to sea from a purpose-built factory, then sunk into a precisely dredged trench on the Baltic Sea floor. And when we say precise, we mean millimeter level precision, in some of the harshest conditions imaginable. In simpler and fewer words, it's like building giant concrete puzzle pieces on land, sinking them into the sea floor, and then covering them up to create a safe, solid passage beneath the water. This method allows for efficient construction of very long underwater tunnels, even in difficult conditions, while minimizing risks from water ingress or structural instability. The tunnel, which consists of 79 standard parts, each 217 meters long, that's just over 885 feet, is designed similarly to the Drogden Trench and has 2 road tubes, 1 emergency tube and 2 rail tubes. 10 service elements, each measuring 85.7 meters in length, but wider and higher, are also included, along with a subfloor for storing technical equipment. Tunnel elements are precast in a dedicated facility. Each is about 217 meters long, over 42 meters wide, and 10 meters tall, weighing up to 73,000 tons. At this stage, the construction process involves pouring immense quantities of high-strength concrete into steel-reinforced molds. During construction, special care ensures each segment's waterproofing and structural integrity, as they will endure both the pressure of the sea and the weight of the passing trains and vehicles. A custom-built dry dock facility in Rotby in Denmark is at the heart of the segment construction. The function of the dry dock is simple. It is a massive shipyard, a place where engineers can build the precast tunnel sections simultaneously and safely. Once a segment is finished, the dry dock is flooded, allowing the segment to float free and be towed to its destined position in the Fehmarnbelt. These segments' final resting place will be in a trench that will hold the immersed tunnel. Powerful dredgers are used to excavate a trench up to 60 meters wide and 16 meters deep, stretching the tunnel's entire length. During this stage, engineers make use of accurate GPS and surveying systems to ensure accuracy down to the smallest millimeter. If this sounds like a lot of work, it is because it is indeed a huge undertaking. However, this project is already underway. Construction work began in earnest in January of 2021. By 2023, dredging work for the tunnel was 70% completed. In December of the same year, the first tunnel elements were finished, and was expected to be lowered as part of the Fehmarnbelt in 2024. On the 15th of April 2024, construction work on the railway link between Puttgarden and Lübeck started on Fehmarn. Fast forward to 2025, and many things geared towards the successful completion of the immersed tunnel have been put in place. So far, the first tunnel element has been installed. Of course, construction is still very much strong, with each individual element weighing 73,000 tons being cast on site. Upon completion, these elements will be towed into position and carefully sunk where they will link onto the end of the lengthening tunnel. The risks and obstacles. But of course, just because it's going well so far doesn't mean that building beneath the Baltic is smooth sailing. There is an intense and increasing need for accuracy in building this tunnel. With the Fehmarnbelt being a high-traffic shipping lane, with over 40,000 vessels a year, a misstep or misalignment during placement could disrupt marine ecosystems or global trade routes. Beyond the construction challenges, the project has faced several hiccups of its own in the form of criticisms and a legal battle where more than 12,600 objections filed in Germany alone stalled construction for years. One notable objection came from local people on the German side who feared the economic impact of the tunnel's completion. The locals' biggest fear was the impending loss of jobs caused by the removal of busy ferry traffic. Another notable outcry was raised among wildlife enthusiasts and environmental protectionists. Their concerns? That wildlife would suffer from the construction of the originally conceived bridge. This isn't exactly a misplaced priority, as the construction of the Fehmarnbelt Tunnel will require the alteration of both marine and terrestrial habitats surrounding the Fehmarnbelt. In fact, the German organization NABU came forward to shed light on possible damage to delicate biodiversity of the Fehmarnbelt, an EU-protected area. Their argument was plain and straightforward. The long-term ecological cost might outweigh the benefits of the new tunnel. Other causes of concern include that of employment. which was cited as a benefit in connection to the construction of this new channel, might only be short-term, while residents would suffer from the increase in traffic, especially with the planned freight trains. For some, this concern is rooted in fears about increased train noise moving freight traffic to this new one. For others, there is a fear that this project might be an unnecessary use of a €7 billion budget. To many critics, the project might be economically unjustified, as predictions of passenger traffic and goods transport on this new line have been grossly overestimated. If this happens, how is the government supposed to recoup the billions it would have spent on more pressing matters? Construction of the Fehmarnbelt Tunnel began in earnest in 2020. As of today, excavation and casting are in full swing. The first tunnel elements are expected to be submerged in 2025, with a grand opening set for 2029. Once open, it'll reshape Europe's transport network, linking Scandinavia directly to Central Europe. This network will be faster, greener, and more efficient. This project isn't just about placing bits and pieces of customized concrete meters below the sea level. It marks a turning point, a glimpse into the future of continental travel. This project isn't just a mega engineering marvel. It might be pivotal in transforming mobility between Scandinavia and Central Europe. Who knows? Maybe this project will be key to boosting regional economies and shaping the future of sustainable transport across the continent. But for now, we can only watch how it all plays out.